the lady in the red dress. Now, what does that mean? Well, this isn't something I've come up with. Okay, this is something that I've heard online from one of the business guys that I follow. But I think it has implications. It certainly has for me in both trading, in business, and in personal life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into what exactly this theory is and then how it actually applies in the trading space, especially in the next few minutes. So stick with me on this one. But so I might be showing my age here, but hopefully some of you guys watching this video will remember the movie The Matrix. You've got a very clear scene there where you've got the main character Neo, and he's walking down, part of his training program, he's walking down a busy street in New York and he's bumping into people and everybody's kind of black and white and he's following Morpheus along the street. And then this beautiful, drop dead gorgeous 10 out of 10 walks past him in this red dress, and his eyes are drawn, his attention is taken off. Okay, and then when he turns back, he's got a gun to his head. And Morpheus says, are you one of them or are you one of us? Okay, now, what's the implication there in the wider life or in trade and in general? It's where the focus goes, your account will grow. Okay, now what I mean by that is that we're always drawn to what the next best thing could be. It's that grass is always greener on the other side mentality. And I've found over my life now, and especially when I've grown as a business person and as a trader, and in my personal life, just with age, okay, that the grass doesn't tend to be greener on the other side when you actually get over there, okay? The grass tends to be greener where you actually water it and where you put the effort in. So when we see these distractions in life and in trading, that could just be a new trading strategy, could be trading a different pair. You could have one of your friends shout out, you know what, I'm just seeing an oil trade. Okay, so you think, well, sod the euro against the dollar, I'm going to have a look at oil now. Could be wider than that. You might go, well, now everybody on social media is shouting about crypto and how they're getting 10, 20, 30% returns, and I'm only getting 5 in Forex. So that would definitely be better over there. But as I said, the guy who coined this phrase is, because this isn't my theory either, this is a guy called Alex Hormozi online. He's a business mentor. But like I said, it rings true, and I believe it does, because what you tend to find is that all of these new opportunities look so great because you're looking at them from this initial stage, and that initial stage is uninformed optimism. So you don't know what that's really like yet. So the only framework you've got is that looks great and I'm optimistic about that. And that's because relative to what you do know is what you've been working on for maybe 6 months, 12 months, a year, more than that. And that you already know all of the bad bits, all of the skeletons in the closet on that one. Okay, so it looks great. When you go over to the other side and start actually putting all these bits into practice, you tend to find you then get to the next stage, which is informed pessimism, because you now know all of the bad bits about that strategy or that business or that person. Okay, and then now that you've got the truth, you think maybe I should have stayed where I was in the first place. And I see people, especially traders, they go flip-flopping between different styles of trading, different indicators, different classes, different commodities, different pairs, time and time again, because they get into their system and they go, right, maybe the win rate's not as good, so that's affecting my mentality. They start going on a bit of a losing run, a bit of a drawdown period. So they think, well, this doesn't work anymore, so let's try that because that looks to be working at the moment. And then the moment they jump into that one goes through its drawdown period and their original strategy now goes into a profit period. And I've got something to share with you here after the years in trading that I've done, is that every single strategy goes through a drawdown period, even if it's an overall winning strategy. Okay, you can't avoid it, so it's pointless trying. Okay, what you need to do is extensively back test your strategy so you can see exactly how long on average, and some of my swing strategies are, like I said, about a year, 2, 3, 4 years worth of back testing, so you can see exactly where these drawdown periods are going to occur. Well, not exactly, but how long they might occur for, and then expect them to happen. Okay, and it's then down to your discipline and your focus to be able to actually trade your way through them, knowing that you've got confidence that they will come back into profit eventually. Because like I said, that lady in the red dress is just purely a distraction. And every time you're distracted, you then put yourselves back another 6 months, another year, while you work out that that was just a distraction. The same is in business. I deal with lots of businesses. I've been in business myself now for about 15 years in 4 different industries. And I used to suffer from that a lot myself. So you'd look at another business and you go, well, that looks like it's got a better profit margin. Okay. And then you think it looks like there's less competition over there. Looks like it's easier to recruit the staff over there. But then the moment you jump into it, you realize you've got exactly the same problems as you would in your source business. You've still got a marketing problem. If you solve a marketing problem, your next problem is actually sales. You'll have a sales problem. Okay. Once you've got into the sales and you've got that nailed, you'll then have a delivery problem. You've got an operations problem. And then you go full circle. So you're always going to have marketing, sales, and operations problems in business as well. So once again, in business, the grass isn't greener over there. And then in your personal life, Jesus, we're only human, okay? But you see people, you see other options, and especially in this world, in this day and age these days with online dating and those sort of things, there are distractions after distractions after distractions. But how deep is that connection if you do then start something new with someone else? And I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of, you know, individual relationships and things like that. But all I say is that if you actually then took all the effort you're going to put into your new relationship and actually directed it at your old one, could things possibly be better? Okay, so driving this back to trading, what I'd like people to do and what I've had to implement myself is that every time I hear about the new best thing, I then maybe just write it down on a list, you know, for a month. Okay, and if I still think it's a good idea in a month, I might investigate it. But what I'm not going to do is just jump straight into new strategies before I've actually given the initial strategy time to come through a drawdown period, come to fruition. Because when I look in the mirror a lot of the time, and a lot of the problems I've actually found in trading has just been down to me. It's my mindset that's slipping. You know, I do other videos on mindset and you know, ways to combat that, but it's normally a me problem. And if I just worked on me, those opportunities would still be there. Okay, but I then have enough focus and discipline to keep in my lane and know exactly what I'm doing, because then that compounds. Over time, you then become an expert in exactly what it is that you do. And unfortunately, especially as you get better and better and better at this, and you earn more and more money, these opportunities, they don't go away. They get more desirable because your skill set increases. So you think, oh, if I could get into that, I could get into that, to get into that. And I'd suggest that you don't, okay? Not until everything is locked in on the initial one. Once that's actually running, maybe, I don't know, with an algorithm, with an EA, then you might be able to then translate it into other forms and other ways of trading. But like I said, if you've got a system that works and it works over a back test, concentrate all of your effort into the discipline to execute. Concentrate all of your discipline in turning up correctly and working on that mindset. And then, yeah, that might work. But you know what? You only have to do one strategy to be rich in this world. Okay? So just concentrate on the returns, let them compound, and let yourself develop as a person. I hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. Like I said, it's more of an observational one of the world. If you want to find out exactly how we do things, because I do give strategies like that to people that I trade personally, just to kind of leapfrog some of those initial stages, so you don't have to go on YouTube and look for strategies that might work and what win rates they've got, then somewhere around this video, or maybe just in the comment section, there will be a link that then drives you either to a direct call with myself or our next webinar where we do some more sort of en masse training. So if you're interested in that, then just click the details, make sure that you register for the next event or book a call with myself, and I'll see you on the next video.